We are going to discuss the systems on your boat that you need to know. First, we will discuss plumbing. You are leaving with 100 gallons of water for toilets, sinks, and showers. You should top off your water each day before leaving port. The fitting to fill the water is under the cushions inside the front seating area on the boat. It is inside the boat. None of the other fittings outside the boat should be opened. Toilets flush with a foot pedal. It is important to see that the toilet pedal goes back to the neutral position. Water should not be flowing after you release the toilet pedal. If it does, this is an issue that could result in overflowing the toilet. Making hot water is done with 2 buttons. You need to turn the hot water heater on the panel and then push the illuminated button on the bottom of the panel. You will hear the flame in the tank. If you don't see the tank light, you should look at your propane sensor. We will discuss that function in a minute. When you are not using hot water, simply turn it off. You do not want this system running when it is not needed.
The electrical system on the boat is fairly simple. You will have lights and outlets both when you are plugged into shore power and when you are cruising, but we strongly encourage plugging the boat in every night that it is possible. On the back panel of the boat, as you enter, you will find a circuit breaker panel. Although the panel looks complex, it is really self-explanatory. We will help you set the ideal settings prior to leaving our port, and we ask that you take a picture of the settings. If an item isn't working, you have likely inadvertently turned off a breaker. Refer back to your picture of the panel and reset the breakers to get the items working again. Your boat works off both AC, land power like in your house, and DC, battery power like in a car or camper. When you are underway, the systems will work off of DC, and when you reach a port plugging in, the boat is always good for it to recharge batteries. On your panel, you will have a panel for the inverter. The inverter takes battery power and converts it to regular power, so your outlets work for items that need to be plugged in like a cell phone or computer. The inverter is pretty complex, so we ask that you do not push any of inverter's buttons without calling our tech support. The inverter is also the battery charger when you are plugged into shore power. The indicator light for AC in will indicate that the boat is receiving power to charge the batteries. If you don't see AC in light illuminated when you are plugged into shore power, this means either your plug is not secure, or more likely the breakers at the shore power pole are not set to the on position. This is very common. Lights and outlets will work whether the boat is plugged in or underway. Please note that a few of our boats are set up, so the outlets in the kitchen will only work on shore power. If you find that the kitchen outlets aren't working when not plugged into shore power, try to use the bedroom outlets. These should work. Also note that our air conditioners will only work when the boat is plugged in.
Speaking of air conditioning, let's talk about the HVAC systems on the boat. The heat and air conditioning are different systems. The air conditioning can only work on shore power. It is controlled by turning on the overhead system in the cabin. There are 2 dials. One controls the speed of the fan, and the second controls the degree of coldness. If it is a particularly hot and humid day, you should set your air conditioner to cool and close the entire boat. Leaving the boat open while cooling will overtax the air conditioner and can cause it to freeze up. The heater is propane-driven, and it is controlled by the thermostat in the kitchen. You will see that the thermostat has slider buttons on it. One is simply an on-off slider, and the second is the temperature control similar to in your house. The heater is one of 3 systems on the boat that run using propane. Your stove, cabin heater, and the hot water heater all use propane. As a safety feature, our boats are equipped with a propane safety system. In order for the systems on the boat to work using propane, you need to have all 3 green lights lit on the propane sensor. If the first light is out, this means that no gas is flowing. You can simply push this button, and propane will now flow to your stove, hot water tank, or stove. When we get down to the boats, our team will go through a series we call Just Do It. This is where we will show you actually how to light stoves and other systems. It is common for customers to brush this process off. We strongly encourage you to just do it with us. This will ensure you have all the comforts of home on the water.
Finally, we have talked a lot about shore power. You will learn how to plug in your boat in a few minutes, but it is really important that you understand that our boats can only plug into shore power outlets that are meant for our boats. The plug itself has a specific shape, and it only fits into one type of outlet called a 30-amp outlet. Note the shape of the plug. You are looking for an outlet with the same shape. The key is the L-shaped prong. When you plug the boat in, remember to look at the inverter to see that you have